So I'm Nick Lucchetti. I'm a meteorologist here at the National Weather Service in Raleigh, and today I'm presenting the routine Thursday weekly briefing for Central North Carolina. And this briefing will cover the period Thursday through next Wednesday. So that's today, November 4th through November 10th of next week. So before I go through the presentation, I just kind of wanted to show you a satellite imagery of the weather that we're experiencing today. So here we actually have a water vapor loop. So showing this system that's coming through that's producing some light rain today across Central North Carolina. So I just want to point out here that in this imagery, the yellow colors represents drier air that you can see over the Midwest that's kind of inching in from the west into our area. And then where you see the white colors and the blue colors, that's the satellite sensing moisture in the atmosphere, and that's essentially this pretty weak system that's coming through today. So we basically have a weak upper level disturbance that's producing some of this light rain and sprinkles that you probably experienced this morning across the area. And we should see this rain continue, light rain continue this afternoon into this evening before this system pushes offshore to the east. And with that in mind, it's generally going to be pretty light. So we're not expecting much measurable amounts with this. In fact, we're only really forecasting upwards of, a couple hundredths of an inch to a tenth of rain for the rest of the day. And that's primarily across maybe, southern portions of the forecast area. So most central North Carolina will probably see some drizzle and some rain the rest of the day, but it's not really going to be that much for the remainder of the day. So before this system pushes off to the east, you might be able to see, I don't know, the numbers are pretty small in this image, but the red numbers are showing the current temperatures at some stations across central North Carolina. So you can see that we're stuck in the low to mid 40s, which is, roughly 20 degrees below normal for this time of year. So it's pretty cold out there. And we're not expecting the highs today to climb much out of the mid 40s. So that is mostly due to, the light rain evaporates and keeps things cool, but also the clouds and whatnot. And there was already a cold air mass in place. So again, today is probably going to be a pretty yucky day with, light rain and drizzle and temperatures barely, reaching the mid 40s. So once this system pushes off later tonight, and again, I don't know if you can see these numbers, but across the Midwest and even into Western Tennessee into Kentucky, you can really see how cold that air mass is associated with a high pressure system that's going to kind of wedge in over top of us. You can see that, we have temperatures in the low 30s to upper 20s in the Midwest. So as this system moves offshore, that colder air is going to keep funneling into central North Carolina. Things are going to clear out from west to east tonight, the cloud cover and whatnot. So that's going to set up a really a nice setup for pretty cold temperatures overnight. So that kind of leads me to our main hazard over this period, which is the really cold temperatures tonight. That is likely going to lead to widespread frost and freeze conditions, which I'll talk about here in a second. So I'm going to bring back up the presentation to discuss that. So we currently have freeze warnings out for counties, excuse me, from Wake County, Raleigh, west and north, along the I-85 corridor. So that's where we expect tonight into tomorrow to see temperatures likely go sub-freezing. And with that, and then further east of Raleigh up to about I-95, we have frost advisories out, which is the lighter blue colors in this graphic. So in those areas, we expect widespread frost to develop. So, temperatures will, get closer to freezing in those areas. So the main hazard related to this is that, with these sub-freezing temperatures, sensitive vegetation could get damaged or essentially die. So that's why we have these warnings out and these frost advisories out. So if there's any mitigation techniques that you might want to, then you're going to want to have, put those in place today before tonight. So again, this freeze warning and frost advisory is valid tonight from 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. So, overnight tonight to Friday morning is when we expect the coldest temperatures of the night. So with that, I'm going to actually switch gears here really quick and talk about the tropics before coming back to the local forecast for the rest of the week. So here's just a quick slide on the current conditions out in the tropics. So you can see that it's pretty quiet, as it has been recently. The only exception is Tropical Storm Wanda remains out over the mid-Atlantic, but that is forecast to stay far away from the East Coast. And the National Hurricane Center is not expecting any other tropical cyclone formation in the next 5 days. So that's good news. So now back to the a weather pattern here locally for the upcoming week. Here we just have 4 panels of today, Saturday, Sunday, and through midweek of surface analysis forecast. And so again, the key takeaways here is that today for the rest of the afternoon and evening, we'll again continue to see light rain with this weak system that's pushing through. Again, we're not expecting much measurable accumulation with this system, maybe as much of up to 1/10 of an inch in some of our southern portions, but of our forecast area. But again, it's probably going to be mostly traced to a few hundredths, to be honest, elsewhere. So, and once that system pushes offshore, again, we're going to have clearing from west to east tonight, which that coupled with the high pressure over the Midwest kind of easing in and those colder temperatures coming down, that's going to set the stage for near freezing to freezing temperatures tonight into Friday morning, which is why, again, we have those freeze warnings out and the frost advisories. So then on Friday through the weekend, you can see here that an area high pressure will continue to build into the area, and that'll actually allow temperatures to rebound somewhat. So we're looking in the 50s, highs in the 50s to 60s by Sunday. So we're expecting mostly dry weather through Sunday. However, you can see in the Sunday plot in the bottom left, the forecast models are suggesting that a relatively strong coastal low is going to develop. But the current trend in the models is that low will likely just glance by us and stay mostly offshore. So right now we have some like a slight chance of rain for those east of I-95 Saturday into Sunday morning, but even that might not materialize depending on how the next models continue to trend. So again, mostly dry through this weekend, with perhaps those in the Far East maybe get some light rain Sunday morning. And then by midweek, well, actually, the high pressure is going to settle in overhead for several days, and by the middle of the week, we'll return to pretty warm temperatures and sunny skies. So that's kind of our week ahead for here in Central North Carolina. So with that in mind, here is from the Weather Prediction Center, a rainfall total that we're expecting for this week. So again, today you can see kind of light accumulations, mostly focused in our southern portions of our forecast area. Again, a couple hundredths of inches, maybe up to 1/10 of an inch, but not much more. And then through Sunday, again, you can see that it's mostly dry. But again, Saturday into Sunday morning, maybe eastern sections of the I-95 East might see a little bit of rain, but not much measurable rainfall. And so that's that. Yeah. So again, once we get through today, looks like there won't be much rain in the foreseeable or the near future. With that in mind, just really quick here, the Weather Prediction Center also puts out these excessive rainfall outlooks for the likelihood of flash flooding. And as you can see, there is no flash flood risk for the next 3 days, which makes sense since we will likely not see much rain. And then really quick here's the Severe Prediction Center's severe weather outlook. And you can see that there is no severe weather is expected in the next 7 days, which is good. So really quickly, the the latest drought outlook for North Carolina came out on November 2nd. It was released today. So I just wanted to highlight that really quick. So on this left panel, we have the drought outlook from last week. And then on the right panel, we have the one that was just issued today. And the main takeaway here is you can actually see that with how little rainfall we have recently, there have been a few additional pockets of D1 moderate drought, the brownish kind of colors you see there, have continued to develop across the coastal plain and sandhills. So, with the little rain that we've had, it's continuing to increase drought conditions for portions of central North Carolina. So will we see any relief in the far future? We can actually look at the Climate Prediction Center puts out these 8 to 14 day maps that you guys are used to seeing in these presentations. And on the right panel here, I'll highlight that first. This is the long-term 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook, which is valid from November 11th to the 17th. And you can see that they are highlighting that the probability of above average precipitation in that period is slightly above average, or as they put it, leaning above. So that's 33 to 50% chance based on that color code. So it looks like we might get some increase in precipitation. Whether or not that erases drought is hard to tell, but we might see some additional rain in the long-term forecast here. And then on the left here, just briefly highlight, they're also leaning above average temperatures for that time period as well. So with that, I'm just going to do a quick summary. So again, for the rest of today, we'll see that light rain continue to transition offshore. Not much in measurable amounts, except maybe in far southern portions of the forecast area. It might see a couple hundredths of an inch up to a tenth of an inch. With that clearing from west to east tonight, however, that's going to set up a very cold night, and that's our main hazard tonight. Potential for widespread frost and freezing temperatures, mainly in the west and north, and then a chance of frost in the southeast. So we have those freeze warnings out and the frost advisories. And again, if you have sensitive vegetation, you're going to want to put in place, today mitigation techniques to protect that vegetation. And then for this weekend, Friday through Sunday, again, high pressure will build in. We'll have a little bit of a rebound in temperatures. Again, we have that coastal low that's going to develop and probably mainly stay offshore and maybe create a little bit of rain for those east of I-95, but elsewhere should remain dry. And then high pressure builds in, and we'll have warmer temperatures and sunny skies for the return of next week. So with